Bill, thanks for joining InvestorStream again. With the drill bit set to spin on the Neds Creek JV with Vango Mining, can you just talk us through the program that you've put together and why you've elected to target the Contessa and Central Park prospects?
Yeah, certainly. As you know, we've done a lot of work at Contessa over the years. I've always felt there's some unfinished business there, and we've got a lot of evidence of it being a very large alteration system and some high-grade results intersections in that area as well. But we haven't, to this date, really identified the structural control. So at Contessa, the key is that we want to target the granite contact specifically as potentially a major structural control on mineralisation. And looking at Central Park, which is about 2 k's to the southwest of Contessa, we've certainly done a limited amount of RC drilling there. And the first phase of RC we did in 2018 came up with some interesting intersections of the 21 metres at 0.7, 7 at 1.4, which shows that we're in the system, and we know there we're on the granite contact itself. That system remains entirely open. So we'll be putting a few extra holes in that area also to try and pull up those intersections, both along strike and down dip.
Thanks, Bill. Now, previous programs have unearthed some pretty significant gold intersections, with one highlight, of course, being 4 metres at 74 grams per tonne gold from 140 metres. How has the previous drill program shaped this current campaign?
Okay, well, we have a fair bit of information from the drilling at Contessa so far. It was relatively systematic and relatively close-spaced. I think in view of all that information, we're still yet to point a finger on the controls on mineralisation. And as I said before, with those high-grade intersections, we know the system's capable of yielding high grades, but we need to get a better understanding of what the structural control is, the primary structural control on the mineralisation. So this program specifically is aimed at the granite contact. We haven't intersected it, to my knowledge, in the drilling we've completed there today. But we know from elsewhere on the contact, specifically at Central Park and Gidgee, where we have done a fair amount of drilling around the contact, that's the locus for the mineralisation in those areas. So on that basis, we think that the granite contact at Contessa is particularly important in terms of having a sufficient testing of it to make sure that that is the primary target that we should be seeking. And that's the aim of this program. We'll be targeting that contact over 700 metres, so quite a large space program covering a fair amount of the contact, with some follow-up and more detailed drilling in the areas of the high grade, obviously around that area. But overall, trying to give us a better understanding of the contact and the behaviour of the system in the vicinity of the contact.
Okay, Bill, so with drilling set to commence within the fortnight, how long do you anticipate the program will take to complete before we see some results?
Well, we think the drilling program itself will probably take about 16 days overall. That's the plan. And subsequent to that, obviously, the samples we sent to the lab, I think will be subject to the same sort of period of potentially delays in the lab that other companies are experiencing at the moment. In normal times, you probably get a 3-week turnaround from when those samples hit the lab to when you actually get the results. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's more like 6 at the moment. But we remain hopeful that we'll get those back as soon as we can and be able to plan a follow-up program as well based on those results.
And just finally, Bill, I'd like to shift slightly if I may. I noticed some recent media coverage referencing Lodestar's recent acquisition of a project in Kilgarty with potential for gold, nickel and LCT pegmatites. I'm really interested in the LCT aspect here. What can you tell us about this project and what are your immediate plans for it?
Okay, well, the tenement we've acquired is west of Kilgarty. It's an area of about 82 square kilometres, so a reasonable size, and it lies immediately north of covers the northern extension on the western side of the Kilgarty greenstone belt. And obviously, in our joint venture with Auroch, their tenements are adjacent to Londonderry and the Tantalite Hill pegmatites. We know they're also aware of the lithium potential in the ground that they're exploring. The Kilgarty belt itself has certainly potential to host LCT pegmatites. And immediately to our west, we've recently observed Wildcat doing their drilling at Red Panda, which is on the adjacent greenstone belt, almost immediately west of where we are looking at our tenement. So it's very early days yet, but from our initial observations of that ground, and the tenement is still awaiting grant, but we can see there's been a lack of exploration over the greenstone itself. We're planning in the near term, I guess, to do some initial soil geochemistry across some of those areas, particularly the greenstone contact and further out to the west over the marginal granite or areas that map to granite, like probably an outcrop very well. So we're very mindful of the potential for LCT pegmatites in that part of the world. And our work programs going forward will certainly take that into account. And we're very mindful of the potential both for gold and nickel and LCT pegmatites in that particular region.
Thanks very much, Bill. Really appreciate you joining me today. All the best for the drill program out at Neds Creek, and we look forward to seeing some results soon.
Thanks, Alec.